Hey everyone, Jamie Pate here, and I am jumping right into this video today. I got a couple things I want to share with you. So, number one, do you see the mess on my table? Well, actually, number one is I'm in a new location. I'm in a little bit new location here to video and record for my channel. So, weigh in, tell me what you think. I kind of like it a lot. I like the light. Of course, that's when there is light. And we're going to see how this works. I can be a little bit more wide in this little location here. So I love it when you guys weigh in. So I am inviting you to tell me what you think. Number two, see my mess? Yeah, this is me prepping for this video today. And I thought, this is kind of what it looks like before we get started. I have my notes here. I have a mock-up here of the project I want to share with you guys. I have a template here. Now, I think you guys can see the notes on that. And so I'm going to just hold this here for one little moment. If you feel so inclined to take a screenshot, go for it right now. That way you just kind of have an idea of where we're going on this little project. And the next thing I want to share with you, okay, we're still in the middle of National Card and Letter Writing Month, and I have really taken this really personal. I have really dived into this month, not only in thought and considering what letter writing is and all those wonderful things, but also in reality. Y'all remember my daily book here? Well, inside this book, it's kind of rough. It's nothing like too beautiful to behold, but I made this little vellum pocket here, and inside this vellum pocket I used a Heidi Swap stamp, and I stamped this calendar grid, and I have been highlighting when I have written a letter. Now, I knew I wouldn't be able to write a letter a day. Doing something every day, while in theory sounds doable, it's actually not. No, not really, not for me. Do I think I could do 30 letters or cards in a month? Yes, I am well on my way, as you saw there. I am well on my way. But here's the other thing, and this is a segue part. We are segueing right now. So we are segueing into this little mock-up I have here of this little folio, if you will. And I have the idea of I needed a place to just jot down people that I was thinking of and wanted to make a card or a letter for. So I needed a little folio and some little extra things that are going to be happening here as well. So this is what we're going to be making today in view of Letter and Card Month. But here's the thing. This would make a great mini album. This will make a great list book for any kind of list. This is just a nice little primer for a lot of different things. One more thing I want to share with you before we get started here, and that's I keep this. The reason I have it the size I do have it, and all these fell over, this is where I've been keeping my envelopes that I've made and some little cards, and it's fairly empty right now. I'm going to be continuing to add to it, but I wanted this to be able to sit in here as well. So it's just a little 4x6 box, and I like now having all this in one place. So I'm going to clear the deck here, and we're going to get started. Okay, to start, you're going to need to have a scoreboard and trimmer, and I have decided to use the Sun Chasers by Heidi Swap, brand new collection, and it's just bright and springy, and obviously it's dying to be used for travelers stuff, and we'll get to that someday. But right now, I am going to trim this to be 10.5 inches wide. I want this to be the top of my book, so I've turned this so that I can now trim it to be 9 inches tall. Now you can use double-sided paper, you can use single-sided paper. It doesn't matter. My mock-up was with single-sided. It would work just fine. It's just a personal preference. Okay, so once you have this cut down to 10.5 by 9 inches tall, flip it over so that you are looking at the inside cover. I'm choosing the polka dots to be the inside. I'm going to come in here and score at 2 inches and then at 6 inches and 6.5. I'm going to rotate this to the left just by one rotation. Then I'm going to come up here at 2.5 and score that down. Now, a person could cut this to the shape that it needs to be. I prefer to have it already scored so that I know exactly where I need to cut to make the shape that I need. So I go a little backwards on it, but it works for me. And I think it's the easiest way to explain it. So again, now that you are looking at the inside of your book, I want you to trim out this little bottom left-hand quadrant. So there's actually 2 scores in there, and you're leaving it so that when you come back in here, you're pulling this up to be a bit of a pocket. And actually, I'm going to come back in here and just shave a tad of this off so that when I fold at this score, and I got to come in here and kind of straighten these up a little bit. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I can still be able to fold that there. And what this middle score and fold is just a very wide spine. I just wanted to have a wide spine. I just like the way it looked, and I think I might just need the extra room. Now you're going to come in here, this last 2.5 inch score, and make another pocket, if you will. Again, let me just straighten this up and make for a nice crease there with my bone folder. Okay, so that was super easy to get to this point, right? Now what you're going to do, and in order to make this, is I'm going to make this like a little partial pocket. I'm going to leave this part open. I'm just going to add some adhesive here. I'm going to make this a pocket as well. I'm adding an adhesive here as well as there. Before I go, though, and make this flat, I want to round this corner here. Let me just clean that up a tad. To add the adhesive here on this edge, I prefer to use this 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive roll. Now you could create a gusset if you prefer. I'm just kind of making this like, how streamlined can we make this? To make this pocket over here then, I am adding in a strip here at the top and then a strip at the bottom. And then we are going to take all the backer paper off, and you're going to see how we have created this little folio. Again, I've already said this. I'm going to repeat myself here. Lots of ways you can use this. I just happen to want to make a book of lists and other things. I'm going to show you. Oops, let's take the backer paper off, James. Typically, you know, I find that that works better, taking the backer paper off. But you know, you do you. Okay, so here's what we got. Ta-da! How cute is that? Super simple, super cute. Lots of room for lots of things. Let me show you what we're going to do next. Okay, now I'm going to make the cover for the inside book. And I'm going to do that. I have grabbed another piece of pattern paper. I've already cut into this, but I don't need that. It's going to be fine. I just need this to be 6 inches tall. So decide how you want the tall part to look. And then, all right, trimming this at 7.5. And you could take this at this point and just fold it in half, or you can score it in half. Just kind of your call on that. Then I'm going to fill this with some blank paper, and I'm going to cover it with vellum, just because I love the softness of vellum, and I want to put a little title on it. So I'm going to fill this next. To get the perfect size for these little books, I found is I just take, depending on the kind of paper you like to use, I'm just using some plain text paper here, and I fold it in half. You can see I've already made several pages here, and I tuck it inside, and I use a cutting mat and a craft knife, and I then cut exactly to the measurements. And so that's how I got to this. Then I need to staple it. So I have a long reach that I've had in my possession for a long time. It's an office supply find. Oops, and that one's crooked. But we're going to massage it into shape here. Yes, we are. And that works. Okay, here's the other thing. This is just purely a kind of, this is purely an aesthetic thing going on here. I'm going to line this up. I'm thinking here, this is what I want to do. I'm going to line this up and create a fold, again, exactly where the end of the book is. So I'm not guessing with my measurements that way. And then I'm going to trim about 1 inch off there from my score. It's 6 inches tall. I just want to make sure I remember that measurement. And then trim this to 6 inches. And I'm going to make a little vellum cover here for my book. I'm going to adhere that to the back. I think for me, while I love all the colors going on here, I think for me, having a vellum over, and this could be over a pattern as well, if you just want to tone it down, it just kind of tones down all the colors for me. It's a total personal preference. And so what I want to grab here next are some of these alphas. I'm just seeing what my options are. I think I want to go with the white. And I am just going to, right across here, trying to think, I think just here, list. Book here, I want to there's a couple things I want to add on this side that I want to share with you. One of them is a vellum pocket, and I want to make a vellum pocket with the We Are Memory Keepers pocket punch board. I'm using scrapbook.com's vellum. I don't know the weight of it. I can find that out, but as I'm feeling it, I'm like, it's got a very nice craft weight, if that makes sense. So it's going to score beautifully. It's what I used in here. And when I added that score line, it did just that. It scores wonderfully. And I love that about a good vellum. So if you're not familiar with the pocket punch board, what this is a mechanism to create pockets that can either have flaps or no flaps. And it can be out of, that paper's so thick, you got to just make sure you are cutting it well so that you have a nice cut. And that's a nice problem to have. You can use vellum, obviously, for crafting these pockets. You can use pattern paper. You can use cardstock. It's just a great tool for if you can cut. That you have to pass the cutting test first. You have to know how to cut. Okay, so I'm going to cut off these corners, and then you can see I already have my score bars extended from underneath the machine, from underneath the board, and I'm just going to go along here and create my score line so that I can then fold that all in. And I still think some of my score got a little wonky. So if you would just ignore that for me, I would super appreciate that. After I fold these, I'm going to use the 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive to secure these flaps right here. And then I have a flap for closing, which is super fun. So I'm going to do that. And then I have one more thing I want to show you today. Okay, the last thing I want to share with you about our folio, and one of the reasons why I wanted the spine to be about 2 inches wide, is this little pocket over here. I'm starting to kind of fill it. I sort of do that here. Let me actually get it in the frame. This little pocket here is, so here's the vellum pocket that I made with the punch board and threw some stamps in there. I love having these little, people call them project cards, or just cutaways from different papers. They're great for adding into letters or cards. I love adding those, kind of that whole flat mail vibe going on. And then another idea I've been playing with is just taking my scraps and just trimming them down and rounding the corners, make an envelope and a card, letter, note, stamping, whatever, it goes right on here. And it's just a super easy, doable, already done way of utilizing your scraps, using beautiful paper, right? And most especially of all, getting a note off to somebody who could use it, who needs to hear from you. And so I'm not going to go on and on about that anymore. I feel pretty passionate about it. So there you go. And if you want to make a little strap for that, you can do that as well. But I'm super happy. It's just going to fit right in here in my look like in my box like that, and I'm just going to keep adding to it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Yes, we are going to get back to storytelling in a big way here in a couple weeks. I have a couple of the video things I want to share with you in the meantime. And so let me hear from you. What are some things you have some questions about? I heard you about the 3-month walkthrough. That's going to be happening soon. Thank you guys for being here so much. I appreciate you all and weighing in your comments. And you know what? I'll see you in the next video.